scrambling type of situation, there's just there's not a controlled atmosphere out there, and you do a lot of things that maybe you didn't even know you did.
Yeah, a lot of people are coming back to the ball, and so you're hitting people from behind, and that's what happened on that play.
They have to get the ball all the way down to the 18-yard line. It is third down rather, and 27 yards to go. King in motion. Marty ought to mail this one down the middle. Stevens falling down, could not catch the football. That was rather James Phillips. The pass goes incomplete, and so it'll be punting time for Garagosian and the Chargers. 4:58 to go in the half, 7-6 Lathrup.
Well, they had their receiver open, except he fell down, but it would have put him in a position where I think they would have gone on 4th down and tried to pick up the 1st down. Instead, they're going to kick it, and I'm sure they're going to angle for the sidelines.
39-28 on Marty, and he fumbles the ball. Now we're going to see if he's going to throw it. I think maybe smartly held on to it. The snap was high, but Garagosian did a good job of not throwing the football, Frank, because that could have been illegal man downfield.
Well, the question is who jumped on the inside, because on the inside you have 2 linemen jump, but it looks like the Charger drew him off sides, and they're going to take the play rather than the penalty.
Locke was the man who tackled him back there. So a little breakdown in the punting game. The special teams of the Lathrup Chargers and the Bluejays have a great opportunity now as they take over 1st down and 10 at the 36-yard line of the Lathrup Chargers, trailing by 1, just inside of 5 minutes to play in the first half at the Silverdome. Bobby Johnson stays back to block. Sideline pass incomplete, intended either for the deep man Cassidy Wright or the short man Ramondo Locke. Locke coming out of the backfield and Johnson staying in the backfield to block.
Well, Southfield stayed consistent. When they've got the ball on the after the short punt before, they came right back with a pass for a touchdown. Here they are with looks like they're going to do a sprint out, but he really pulls the football and throws it. But Lathrup covered it much better than they did the time before.
Good job by Bobby Johnson blocking on Richard Harvey, the outside linebacker. Otherwise, I don't think Darzil Hall would know what hit him. 2nd down and 10. He pitches back to Bobby Johnson looking for a lock block. He got one from Carl Miller, and we're going to get a clip. I don't know who of those 2 that I mentioned committed the clip, but you could see it happen right around the 30-yard line where the flag went. We won't name the guilty party, but we'll watch him march it off.
Well, the pitch is there. They have the corner knocked down. It's pretty well sealed, and it's good blocking down there, and it's coming from behind. And boy, I'll tell you, the officials saw the end of that play, and it was not a clip.
Didn't think so myself,
and
Frank.
No clip. He dove in front of him, and the officials saw the end of it. And you know, the golden rule on that for the officials is if you don't see the beginning of the clip, you don't call it, because you never know if the man turned his back on him or not.
Got him right in the left shoulder. The back of the left shoulder. So they'll march it back now to the 43-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 17 yards to go. They need to get it to the 26. Darzil Hall trying to run the option and does. Gets in the secondary, needs a block and got a good one there from Chris Porter to get him a couple more yards and maybe back to the original line of scrimmage. But a good job there by Duran Stevens to turn in the play.
Well, he's running his own version of that quarterback draw. And getting the blocking, does a good job of cutting back against the grain, but the Lathrop defense is extremely quick, as we've seen in the past few weeks.
It is third down, 11 yards to go, so he did not get back the penalty yardage. Missed that by about a yard. Darziel Hall under pressure, now running away from pressure. Needs a couple more, and he's going to lack the first down, but good heady running that time by Darziel Hall. Brian Wyndham was among the many in that Lathrop stack. Al Young, Marty Garagosian there too. Now Marty will come out of the lineup, and Waleed Shamami will come in, giving him a little more beef up front.
Well, he's going to drop back and try to throw the football here, but he saw the coverage was excellent by the Chargers, and he picks his hole inside because the linebackers got real good depth on their pass defense and almost picked up the first down.
4th and 1. One wide receiver. Actually, there are two out in the pass pattern, surprisingly. Deep handoff, Bobby Johnson to the outside, trying to get away from Stevens, and does, and stepped out of bounds about the 11-yard line. He got away from Duran Stevens, and in trying to get away from him, he stepped out of bounds.
Well, he's going to pick up the first down, and this is a good safe call. Bobby Johnson, a good hard runner, their bread and butter man, and he just, you can see his right foot hit the line. The official was in excellent position to make the call.
2:56 to go in the second quarter. The Blue Jays trail the Chargers by the score of 7-6. Marty Garagosian, 7-yard touchdown run. 46 seconds before the end of the first quarter. And then about midway through the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, a 43-yard touchdown pass from Darziel Hall to Donald Blackman. Difference was the Garagosian extra point on his own touchdown. From the 11, Hall in trouble, running out of trouble, getting away from a couple of Lathrop players and getting down very, very close to the first down.
Well, their best weapon right now is to drop back for a pass and get flushed out of the pocket.
Ray Moreland looked like he was in on the stop. And returning to LO11 this week is the Campus Network, NCTV. If you like variety with your television viewing, you'll love NCTV. From the detective series Richard Diamond to Uncensored, Flash Gordon, and Honey West, catch it all right here on LO11. From the 6-yard line, Bobby Johnson, touchdown. Oh, it looked almost as if Bobby asked them politely to get out of his way, because it was about as easy a touchdown with those many people around him as Bobby Johnson has scored this year. And for Bobby Johnson, his 8th touchdown on the ground.
You're going to see his balance. He bounces off people, is able to spin into the end zone, but it's his balance that makes him such a great runner.
Some good downfield blocking. Kevin Beverly, number 62, man that sprung him free. The entire offensive line, Beverly, and at the center position, and Billy Troy and Brent Howard, the guards, and Thomas Shear and Carl Miller, the tackles. Last year, they had a senior-laden offensive line, Frank, and that was really the most frustrating thing about their season last year. They had, if you can come into a season with an offensive line that's experienced, you can do just about anything you want. They just didn't do it.
Well, I think you brought out a good point, and they opened with Farmington Harrison last year, and being a Class B school and Southfield Lathrup feeling that they were Class A, and Southfield High, and they got ripped by Harrison, and it seemed to affect their whole season. And this year they came out, and again they got beat by Harrison, but it was a better ball game. They didn't drop their head, and obviously Harrison's outstanding. They just beat the number 6 team in the state 45-6 last week, so they're not real bad.
And that's John Glenn, and that's a Class A team. They're going for 2 here, legitimately, and now they're going to have to go from 2, but from 5 yards further back. To just elaborate on that point, it just seems like you said, they never recovered. Now, this year, maybe they were just mentally tougher going into the rest of the season, but they went the next game, and they went into Hazel Park, and they beat the Vikings. There were situations during that game, as we alluded to in the first game, that Southfield got a few breaks because of injuries to some of the Hazel Park players, a couple turnovers, but they forced the turnovers. I think 8 turnovers in that game against Hazel Park. So, bottom line is, Southfield was ready for Harrison, even though they didn't beat him this year, but they didn't let it affect their whole season. They're still going for 2. Bobby Johnson out of the backfield, swing past Bobby, and he loses his shoe and is down at the 5-yard line. And so that is the way that particular 2-point conversion attempt will terminate. And with 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the first half, it is 12-7 in favor of Southfield.
Well, you're going to see the ability of the carpet to really grip your shoe. He goes to make the cut, and comes right out of his shoe and is tackled short of the first or the extra point.
Should point out to you that with about, well, in the second quarter of last year's game, with where were we? With 3 minutes and 8 seconds to play, the Lathrup Chargers had a 20-13 lead. They'd score one more touchdown to make it 26-13 at halftime. I don't think we're going to see that in this football game because both defenses are hot and they are really hitting very, very well. Bobby Johnson ties his shoe and will put it on the far hash mark. Uric King is standing back at about his 12-yard line. And then Bryant Wyndham standing back on the 20. Bobby Johnson gets a good high end-over-end kick away. It is taken by Uric King, or rather by Bryant Wyndham at the 20. He gets it up to the 32-yard line. Well, the Bluejays really stuck him down there, and David Little was down there, had some help from number 33, Reggie Haggard. So you're seeing a lot of names, Frank, on the special teams that are not playing during the regular portion or the other portions of the football game, and it's nice to be able to mention their names.
Yeah, I think this late in the season, everybody's been practicing. You give everybody a chance to play. Something that may enter into the game, because with a 5-point lead, 2 field goals can win it for you. And later on, we'll point out it's difficult to kick a field goal in this building.
We have elaborated on that in the past, and we'll give you a close-up look at it in a second. Or a little longer than a second. Marty Garagosian is going to be sacked back there. Derek Woods had help. Ramondo Locke was back there too, and maybe somebody else that probably will get into the stat sheets, but it was Derek Woods and Mondo Locke who really got a hold of Garagosian.
Well, this is what you call a coverage sack, because nobody was open. He had enough time to throw it, and then, when there was nobody open, the blocking broke down and he gets sacked. Now
we're going to get a timeout called by Lathrop. I would think Southfield would want to call a timeout, not Lathrop, if the scoreboard is correct. We also wanted to point out that Derek Woods was the man who made the initial hit and then got help from Ramondo. We also want to remind you to watch Speak Out with Brent Trieste live this Tuesday at 7:30 on LO11. Brent and his studio audience will take a look at macrobiotics. Are you what you eat? If you missed the live show on Tuesday, it will be replayed Sunday at 7 o'clock. Tune in to find out what your neighbors think right here on LO11. Are you what you eat? Interesting. That's part of my new book called So Much Food, So Little Time. Last 3 plays, Mike Brenner says, on the Lathrop side of things, -12, -16, -5. They're second down and 15 now. Marty is back to throw. Here they come again. He gets out of the way, throws a sideline pass to Doring, and it's broken up beautifully across the way by Jeff Reynolds.
Jeff Reynolds reacted very well to the football. That was another play that took a lot of time to develop because Marty Garagosian was running for his life in the secondary, and Dorian does work himself free, and the ball has to be in the air a long time because he threw the ball about 50 yards, and Dorian does a great job of diving in front and knocking the ball dead.
Third down now and 15 yards to go. King right and Will Hawkins out to the right side. Actually, you're King out to the left. The backs are split. Marty is back and hit as he throws, and it is up for grabs, but no one wants it. King was down there. Donald Blackman and Marvin Reynolds had coverage on the right-hand side. Jeff was kind of playing center field.
I'll tell you, if King doesn't go to knock the ball